Good morning, grade 2s. Welcome back to WorksheetCloud. I hope you've had a lovely Wednesday morning and a start to your week. So we are going to do grade 2 maths together today. And if you have any questions, then ask mommy or daddy to send an email to grade2@WorksheetCloud and we will try and answer your questions as quickly as possible. So my name is Teacher Taryn and we did a lesson together the other day. So hopefully you remember me. We are going to do grade 2 maths together today. We are going to double some numbers. Now let's quickly remember what we did on Monday. We learned how to rename numbers. Now rename actually has a very fancy other name, and that is called decompose. And that just means that we take a number and we split that number into tens and units, into smaller groups. So if we look at 45, 45 is actually a 40 plus a 5. And we said that 40 is actually 4 groups of 10. And we had 10 rows of blocks. And then we said that 5 is my units. And we had 5 loose blocks next door. So let's have a look at 31. If we rename 31, we're going to get a 30 plus a 1. 3 groups of 10 and 1 unit. And if we look at 19, we're going to rename it as 10 plus 9. And that is 1 group of 10 and 9 units, 9 loose blocks next door. Now why is this important to know? Because if we want to double bigger numbers, we need to be able to rename them first. Because to double 10 and to double 9 separately is easier than to double 19 altogether. So what does double actually mean? Double means that I take a number and I add the same number to it. So let's look at an example. Here is Peter, and Peter is sitting on the floor, and next to Peter there are 3 apples. And if I want to double 3, I'm going to just add another 3 to it. So here's Sarah, and I'm going to add 3 apples. So if I've doubled 3, I have 6 because I've said the 3 plus itself, another 3. So if we look at these smaller numbers, these might be easy to double because we might have done it already in grade 1, or we've been packing it out with counters, or we can even use our fingers to double these. So let's have a look at these smaller numbers. Double 2, I have 2 blocks over here, 2 blue circles. And these 2 blue circles, if I want to double it, just going to add exactly the same next door. So here I have another 2 blue circles. So 2 plus 2 is going to give me 4. And I can also say 2, and I double 2, I add another 2, I have 4. So now if I have 3, I have 3 blue circles. And if I double 3, I'm going to add the same thing right next door. So now I have another 3 blue circles. So 3 plus 3 is 6. And if I use my fingers, I can say 3 and I double 3, and that is 6. And 4, I have 4 blue circles now, and I double 4, so I add the same thing next door, and 4 plus 4 would give me 8. And 4, I double 4, and I get 8. Now I have 5, and I have 5 blue dots on top, and I double 5, I'm going to put it right next door. And now if I have 5 and another group of 5, that's easy because that's the same as my fingers on my hand. I have 10. I have 5, I double it, so I have 10. But now, why is this so important? Because if I know that double 2 is 4, and I know that double 20 will then be 40, that's a clever trick for me to learn. And then I can go one step further, and in grade 3 you're going to say double 200 is 400. And we don't need to know that right now, but we need to know why it is so important. So we said that these numbers are quite easy to double because either we can see it, or we've packed it out with counters, or we can even use our fingers. So let's quickly revise. If we have 1, double 1 is 2. And if I have 2, double 2 is 4. And if I have 3, double 3 is 6. And if I have 4, double 4 is 8. And if I have 5, double 5 is 10. But now we have a problem, because if I want to say double 6, if I hold up 6, I don't have enough fingers to put next door. I only have 5 and another, so that's the biggest number I can do with my hands. So we need to come up with a clever plan now to do the bigger numbers. So if I look at 6, 6 is actually a 5 and a 1, and I've packed it out that way. So if I want to double 6 and I put another 6 underneath, all I've actually done is I've added another 5 underneath and another 1 underneath. So if I want to do that next door, I can say I have double 5, and that is 10, and I have double 1, and that is 2. And if I want to do that with my hands, I can say I have double 5, and that is 10. And I can say that I have double 1, and that is 2. Then I'm going to add them together, and that gives me my answer of 12, because 10 plus 2 is 12. So now I've said that double 6 is 12. So let's have a look at 7, our next number. Now 7 is actually a 5 and a 2. So if I double 7 and I put it underneath, I actually have a double 5, and that gives me 10. And I actually have a double 2, and that gives me 4. So let's do it with our hands. I have double 5, and that's 10. And I have double 2, and that is 4. And I add them together. Let's quickly think. 10 plus 4 going to give me 14. That's correct. Let's have a look at 8. 8 is actually a 5 and a 3. So if I double 8 and I put another one underneath, I've actually just doubled 5, and that is 10. Let's do that with our hands. Double 5, and that is 10. And double 3, yes, it is 6. And 10 plus 6 is 16. Now let's have a look at 9. 9 is a 5 and a 4. So now I double 9 underneath. I've actually doubled 5, and that is 10. And I double 4, and that is 8. And 10 plus 8 is 18. You are very clever. And I think the next one you can do without dots, because double 10 is going to give me 20. Well done. So now that we know how to double all those smaller numbers, we want to double 13. But now you're going to tell me we need a clever plan, because I don't have enough fingers on my hands. I don't know about you, but I don't have enough fingers, so we are going to use not dots, but we are going to use groups. So let's first rename 13. Remember, right in the beginning we said we rename and we break it down into its smaller groups, tens and units. So 13 is equal to 10, that's my tens, plus 3, and that's my units. So 10 looks like that, one group of 10. And then I have 3 units over here. So now if I want to double 10, we said double 10 is 20, which is 2 groups of 10. I just added another group of 10 next door. Now I want to double 3. Remember we said double 3 quickly is 6. And I've just added another 3 loose blocks next door, the units. So now that I know that that is 2 groups of 10, 2 groups of 10 if we count in tens, 10, 20. So have a look where I'm going to write it. I put an arrow underneath and I put a 20 underneath there. Now I'm going to have a look here on this side at my units. I had 3 loose blocks, but now I have 6 loose blocks. So now underneath my 3, I'm going to say that double 3 is 6. But now because I took my number apart over here, I need to put it back together. So how do I put something back together? I add it. 20 plus 6. And I'm going to write the answer on the left-hand side over here, and that is 26. So let's quickly see if we can remember and do it by yourself. What was our first step we needed to do? We said 13. I first need to rename. Rename is equal to 10 plus 3. Then I said that 10 is actually one group of 10. And 3 is 3 loose blocks, 3 units. Now I double it. I add exactly the same right next door. Another group of 10 and another 3 units. Now I know that 2 groups of 10, and I write it underneath, is 20. And now my 6 units, I write it underneath, is 6. And I add it together, and that will give me 26. Wow, grade 2s, you are very clever. But let's see if we can try another one together. Now we have the number 16. Now 16, what was our first step? Remember, we first need to rename. So rename 16, and that will give me 10 plus 6. So now 10 is actually one group of 10. So I put it over there. And 6 is 6 loose blocks. So now I'm going to double. I add another group of 10. And I add another 6 loose blocks. And I already know from the previous question that 2 groups of 10 is 20. And remember, I write an arrow underneath and I write my 20 over there. Now I have not 6 loose blocks. Remember we said that 6 is actually a 5 and a 1. So 6 doubled will be double 5, 10, double 1, 2. So 10 plus 2 is 12. There you can see there are 12 little blocks. And underneath the 6, I write an arrow and I write 12. And now because I've taken my number apart, I need to add my number back together again. So now I'm going to look here at the bottom at my 20 and my 12. And I'm going to say 20 plus 12. And that's going to give me 20 plus 10 is 30. And 30 plus 2 is 32. So now I've doubled 16 by first renaming it, drawing arrows underneath, doubling my 10, doubling my 6, adding it together, and then I get to 32 as my answer. So now, grade 2s, you are going to do this as an activity afterwards. You are going to see at the top of the activity, going to double with dots. There is an example where you're just going to draw the dots next door. Then you're going to try and do it with the arrows at the bottom. First rename, and then you draw your arrows. And then right at the bottom, for all you clever boys and girls that can do it by then, you are going to do it on your own. So remember that this lesson comes from WorksheetCloud. And I hope that you're going to have a lovely Wednesday afternoon. Until next time I see you, goodbye grade 2s.